Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I'm your English teacher Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well. My dear learners, we are on English grade 7 and now we are on our unit number 4. The title is The Empty Spot. Now today we are going to deal with the competency of oral communication. We are going to look at an SLO from this competency. This is our lecture number 5A and our topic that is extracted from our students' learning outcome is about speaking confidently. Now let's look at our students' learning outcome to see that what we are supposed to do to have good oral communication skills and what we are learning today. So, our students' learning outcome is speak confidently using complex vocabulary and longer sentences to fulfill different purposes. Now, it's very simple. We are going to learn that how we can speak with confidence and with using vocabulary that is complex, which is a next step further, and how we can increase our vocabulary and use it along with longer sentences to fulfill different purposes of speaking. Now we know that we speak for different reasons, for different purposes. In English language, you have to be very much confident because you need to practice a lot. English is not our first language, it's not our native language. So we need to work on this very well in order to speak confidently whenever the chance comes. Now, this is our students' learning outcome, and this one is our vertical linkage of this SLO of oral communication with the previous grade that you have already gone through, you have studied it. So I just want you to retain as much information as you can from the previous grade. Now moving on for doing this quick brainstorming session. So now today's brainstorming session, you have a very interesting question over here. You need to think about it, storm your brains a little bit, that what are some different purposes to speak? Now, we human beings, we use language to communicate, and we speak, we listen, we share and receive data, information. So what are some purposes for which we speak? Yes, there are so many. Think about them, make a list, and discuss with your fellows and your teacher. Now, after this quick brainstorming session, to get yourself started, we are going to discuss our topic, which is speaking with confidence. So, whenever you're speaking in a foreign language, in any other language which is your second language, you need to be very much confident and you need to show that you are very much comfortable with it. So, we will be speaking with confidence. Now, there are some ways by using those techniques and steps and those habits and routines, we can speak in English confidently like a native English speaker. Let's see. The very first thing that you need to do is start speaking in English without any hesitation. So rule number one, you do not need to be hesitant, and you will put all your fears aside and just speak in the language which we are targeting, which is English. Then do not think about any rules and logic. Just speak, because if you won't speak, then you will not be confident, and also you won't know if you can speak correct English or not. Importantly, anyone can only correct you if you will speak with them in English. So, in order to be very much confident when we are speaking, you need to do a lot of practice. At first, you will have some troubles, but you have to just push yourself a little forward to completely absorb the language and make a part of your habit and your thinking process. So you need to not worry about anyone's comments or remarks. You just go with the flow, speak in the English language so that you can do all the rest of the things easier. So these are some of our important rules. Some keywords are very important here. Do not be hesitant. Do not worry about that people will point out mistakes, because if you don't speak, then you will not be able to correct yourself. So speaking without hesitation is our very first thing and our very first rule. So now, let's look at the second thing. The second thing to remember for learning English is that you need to cram it. Then, do you remember how you learned your mother tongue? I'm sure you did not go to a school to learn grammar first. So same thing applies with any language you want to learn. You need to mimic correct sentences over and over again. You need to read a lot, listen, speak, and try to write in English. So all these things putting together, this will improve your 4 language skills of English language, which is reading, speaking, listening, and writing. So you need to cram the English language. You need to go through different texts. You need to listen and speak in English in order to cram it properly. Then remember, how did we learn our mother tongue? So, in Pakistan, we have a lot of different mother tongues, right? Different languages. There are so many different regional languages. How did we learn those? Because we were surrounded by that language. We used to express ourselves in that very language. We used to write, read, and do all these things. So we are going to apply the same rules, the same strategies of learning a language in English. In this way, you will be very much confident while you are speaking. Then, to mimic. In order to mimic, you need to listen to a lot of English. You could listen to plays, different dramas that are available, now, and you need to listen to speeches, interviews, so that you are completely aware that how the English language is spoken and how is the accent and how do you actually express yourself. So you need to do all these important things mentioned over here. This will build your confidence in a very quick manner. Now, the third thing to remember for speaking in English is that you have to speak without thinking instantly. When you want to speak in English effectively, then you need to speak without thinking instantly. So when we are speaking in English, normally we are translating from our mother tongue, from our native language into English. And this takes a lot of time. When we are translating all these in our mind, we are interpreting from one language to another. But in order to have a very good confidence, you need to speak and think instantly and make a habit out of it so that you do not take pauses and you do not get stuck. And getting stuck, as we know, it breaks our confidence. So this strategy is also very important. You have to develop a skill of thinking instantly and quickly without using any interpretation from one language to the other. In order to do that, you need to be very much expressing yourself in that English language. I hope this one is really clear to you. Now we are on our next step, which is not the least, only reading, listening, watching English will help you know more about the language. So not only reading, but also listening and watching any stuff in English language will help you learn more about the language. You make friends with people who know the language or join online groups or any local group near your place who provides the facility for you to speak in English. Only after a week you will see the difference. So just like we learned our mother tongue, you need to make a group of friends. You can go to online platforms and forums in order to get to know people who are speaking in English. And when you interact with them, this will build your confidence and you will be very much comfortable while sharing your ideas, your opinions, and any other things in the English language. Next one is, now another chunk of our students learning outcome is about using complex vocabulary. Why? Because vocabulary is very important. It makes you sound more educated, knowledgeable, and having a good grip on the language. Now, let's see. So we know that vocabulary is a set of words used in a specific language. So every language has a vocabulary. Likewise, in English, you have different sets of words and you use in different scenarios. A vocabulary expands with age and is a valuable and fundamental tool for communication and information acquisition. Next one is, words are very important, and without words, how can we talk on different aspects? For example, people or places or events, etc. So, the more words you know about different situations to explain different scenarios and complex ideas, now you will be able to speak confidently and you do not have to look for words or look it up in the dictionary when you are having a face-to-face communication. Now, for your acquisition, learning a lot of vocabulary is very important. All you need to do is look up for the common English words that are used and some intermediate and advanced English language vocabulary. Then, as you know that without words, we cannot express our ideas and we cannot talk about anything. So we need to have vocabulary about explaining people, things, our ideas, and so much more. Now, why vocabulary is important? Why do we need a very big set of words in our mind about different things? Let's see. Now, this will improve all areas of communication. This will improve your listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So it targets all the four language skills. And it supports in learning to read. Now, vocabulary is key to reading comprehension. The more words you know, the easier it will be to comprehend any given text. It helps you understand ideas and think more logically. Now, these are all the benefits of learning complex vocabulary, and you can look it up in the dictionary. You can watch it. You can watch different kind of stuff online, and you can Google a list of vocabulary words that are complex, and they will improve your language skill one step further. Now, how do we expand our vocabulary? Yes, do know some words of English language. We use them regularly, but there are a lot of words that we do not use, which are very important. So, there are some techniques that you can use in order to expand your vocabulary. So, all you need to do is learn new words every week or weekly, read extensively, use vocabulary journals, and practice with vocabulary games. So let's look at all these one by one. Number one is, you need to learn new words. You can make a target of, let's say, 50 words per week with meaning and along using them with their sentences. So you can make a journal where you can keep the track of all the words that you are studying, and you're learning new words, and you will go through them every other day to revise them. Then you will be using vocabulary journals. You have to read a lot. You can read fiction and non-fiction text, or you could listen to speeches, interviews, online lectures available. Then you will practice vocabulary games. Yes, this one is very interesting. You can play so many different vocabulary games. You could play Scrabble. You can find online applications from your phone or your computer, and you can play those vocabulary games, and they will fit into your subconscious, and you can use them whenever you want them. Next one is another thing in our students' learning outcome is about constructing longer. Instead of just speaking a sentence with 2 or 3 words in it, over and again we are using different sentences. Now we want to make longer sentences that can cover our idea and our expression. So, how do we construct longer sentences? We combine, put together simple sentences, and we use conjunctions and clauses. What are conjunctions? They are parts of speech, words that are connecting two different things together, like and, or, but, for. All these are conjunctions. And then your clauses, which include different kind of chunks of phrases. You need to write detailed descriptions, practice sentence expansion exercises. Now, another way of constructing longer sentences is take up any topic or any place and write a detailed description. Explain everything and try to explain them in few sentences, but make the sentences longer. And then you need to practice sentence expansion exercises. Now, there are a lot of different exercises, activities available online. You can access them, or in grammar books. They will help you in expanding your sentence structure and making it a longer sentence. Now, let's look at an example. How does a simple sentence looks like, and how does a longer sentence looks like? Now, for the simple sentence, we have an example. He ran quickly. He caught the bus. Now, these are two different sentences, and they are short sentences. But if we use our conjunction, and if you want to convert these two sentences into one, you would make a compound sentence that looks like something like this. He sprinted rapidly and managed to catch the bus. Now, in this sentence, we used complex vocabulary and all these words. Also, we converted them into one sentence using our conjunction. So, in this way, you can easily say anything in a longer sentence. Moving on to another example. Now, the train stopped, the sun came. These are sentences containing 3 or 4 words, but we want to make it a little complex and a little longer so that we can sound confident in our English. So after the rain ceased, the sun emerged brilliantly. So the word ceased, emerged, brilliantly, all these are vocabulary words that you need to know, and you could learn a lot of words like these in order to make longer sentences. So you can see that we used comma, a punctuation over here to make our sentence and put these two sentences together, merged them into one. Now, we know that speaking have different purposes. Let's see. These are different types of speech in front of you. Number one is persuasive, where you convince others of your ideas and your opinions. You persuade them. Then informative, where you give information. Entertaining, where you entertain others. And then instructive, where you are giving instructions. And then you can practice role play in practicing different scenarios. So these are all different types of speeches. These are also different purposes for why we speak. Now, there are some additional resources that you could use to expand your vocabulary. You could take any reading material, either they are books or articles or magazines, etc. Go through these two or three websites, and you will learn more about vocabulary. You can use these apps to actually practice your vocabulary using the given tasks that are in front of you. So these are additional resources that you could use, and there are a lot of them available online. Now, they will help you expand your vocabulary. Here is a simulation link about constructing longer sentences that you can watch later. And for your classroom activity, we have an activity in which you have to be divided into groups of 4 students, practice telling familiar stories in new ways, begin telling a fairy tale or myth. After a few sentences, let another storyteller take over, adding to the story in a unique way with sound effects, voices, and gestures. So you can follow the rest of the instructions by yourself and complete this classroom activity. This will enhance your speaking and will make you more confident. Now, for your homework, you have to have a conversation on any topic that you like with your siblings or parents, and you will be using complex vocabulary and longer sentences. Ask them for feedback and practice more. So just as we talked about using complex vocabulary, first you need to learn new words and try to find a way and an opportunity to use them whenever you feel like. And also you need to make longer sentences, take pauses, merge 2 or 3 sentences together, use conjunctions and all that and all those things. So you need to do this homework, and then at the end we are introducing some resources. So the presentation, the lesson plan, all these are included for you to understand more about speaking confidently in English language. My dear learners, I thank you for listening, and thank you for being so patient. See you in the next video. Allah Hafiz.